Hey Ottawa, this is your Monday Market Snapshot for Monday, August 14th, 2023. My name is Annalee Rice and I'm a Realtor in Ottawa, Ontario with Royal LePage Performance Realty. Every week I bring you the stats, the numbers, the charts, all the data to help you understand what's going on in the Ottawa real estate market. Now for today, I have updated a bunch of the charts. I don't know if it's just that I get bored with how I'm presenting the data, but I've switched things up, so please leave me comments. Let me know whether or not things are clearer or if you want me to try something else. Please give me your feedback. Okay, so first off, this slide exactly the same, but citywide, we're looking at the numbers here. We've got the active listings are up by 70 across the city, which is quite a big jump. It's about 5% increase over the last 2 weeks that we've seen for active listings. Most notably, it's in the condo market. Lesser so in the townhomes and detached, but sales for this week were down for the second week in a row, and most notably I'd say that the townhome sales dropped the most. Okay, so this is the same chart, give or take, of what I've done before. Previously it was the different wedges, the active, conditional, and firm sales wedges, but what I did here was just create it into a line chart. So when we look in graph form, we see that the active listings did climb. So we're up almost to 2,000 active listings at this time across the city. The number of properties conditionally sold remained fairly steady, as you can see, and the number of sold properties has been just slowly inching off the last few weeks. The sales being down this week, it'll be a bit more obvious in later charts that I share. But I think this is somewhat to do with the long weekend that we had last weekend. And the question is whether or not it will pick up over the next few weeks before school starts and the fall comes, or will it continue to drop off through the latter part of the summer? The next chart is a totally new one, so let's move on. Okay, so this is a brand new chart, and this chart is showing us the monthly sales over the last 10 years. So it's actually 11 years because it includes 2013. But what I want you to notice is that from 2013 to about 2019, so that's the pink, the rainbow up through the aqua blue, if you see that they all follow the same pattern of generally the peak of sales in May, and then a drop off pretty steady through the latter part of like July, August, and then slowly declining through September, and then dropping off through the winter. So they all follow the same curve of, when is the peak sales, when do things start dropping off. And you'll notice that over the years from 2013 up to 2019, obviously the number of sales just slowly kind of creeped up over the years as more houses are built, so more transactions happen. So in my normal weekly or monthly updates, we're always talking year to year or month over month. And so this chart, I'm hoping, will help people understand what is normal, like the typical market. When I talk about a typical market pre-COVID, it's that 2013 to 2019 averages and the curves that we see from month to month typically. So in 2020, you can see the very quick start to the year, the drop off when everything shut down, and then record breaking fall, late summer, fall numbers that we saw through 2020. You can see the purple lines, that's 2021 and 2022. They both had a very high volume in early spring. The spring market was much quicker, much higher volumes than record-breaking years for those years. And 2021 was record-breaking throughout the whole year. You see it, the only time it really dipped was through the summer, and people took their first summer vacations in a couple years. And then again, it had a record-breaking fall, except for 2020, fall market. The 2022, that's the darker purple, you see that it started off very, very fast, very, very high volume. And then you can see that from about May into June, it dropped off and it was record low. So, lower volumes than what we had in 2013, a decade before. So when we're comparing 2023, that's the black line. It again started out quite slow, below what we saw basically a decade ago. And then it was in May is when we've started seeing higher sales volume than what we saw in 2022. But you can see that it's still very low. And so when I'm talking week to week and I'm talking like saying, oh, is it going to steady out? Are we going to see a typical market? We can see that the typical market would see fairly steady sales from July to August, and then slight drop-offs for August to September to October, and then into the winter. So so far we're seeing, this doesn't have August on it, but so far we are seeing lower sales in August, and I guess time will tell whether or not we're going to end up above or below what we saw in August 22. So sorry for the very long explanation of this graph, but I think I'll include it periodically just to share where we have come from and what is a typical market. Okay, so this one here is the same graph as what I've been sharing before about the number of new listings. That was the yellow and the red being sales. And typically I share this one with a bar graph, but I'm always mentioning how many new listings versus new to the market listings and how many relists. So this time I've switched it out to a line graph, and I've broken out those numbers just so we can see, because numbers week to week don't mean a whole lot, but when we see here, we've got the number of properties that were listed. That's the yellow. So this week we had 382 properties listed, and of those we had 304 that were new to the market and 78 that were relisted. So since we're a week into August, we saw that last week we had the peak of relisted, so a higher percentage than normal, and that's because it was the first week in the month. A lot of new properties get canceled or expire, and then they get relisted. And then we can easily also see that the number of new listings has actually been climbing slightly throughout this month. So the last 4 weeks, we've had slight increases of new to the market listings, while the sales have been dropping off for the last 4 weeks. So this is why we're seeing the number of active listings on those other charts has been climbing. Okay, so this graph is the same as what I've been sharing before, but I am contemplating whether or not to get rid of this. So please give me your feedback. So for this week, we had 21% of the homes sold with no conditions, and we had 14% of the homes that sold this week were on the market for 7 days or less, and 61% were on the market for 30 days or less. Of those homes that sold in the 7 days, only 44% of those sold with no conditions. So that is definitely a lower percentage. We're typically up around the 60-70% of the homes selling quickly within that first week are selling with no conditions. So I think that these percentages being lower, not only the number of homes selling within the first week, but also the number of homes selling with no conditions, this is indicative of the fact that we've got the rising inventory and there are just fewer buyers. More homes to choose from, less competition, less pressure to not have a condition, and so that I think we're going to continue to see these numbers dropping. There will always be some houses that sell like almost immediately when they're priced really well and show really well, but as the inventory climbs, we expect to see those drop. So let me know if you think that this chart should disappear, and if you'd like any other information included, or which parts of this you like. Okay, so zooming in to look at the more detailed of the different areas, we've got the central urban region. We have increase in the number of properties across property types, but most notably, obviously, the condos and detached. Townhomes remain fairly steady. And for the sales this week, we had a drop across property types, but most notably in the townhomes. In Canada and Stittsville, we had mostly townhomes that rise in the active listings, just slight in detached and condos. And the sales were very flat across, so very flat across property types this week. In Barrhaven and Riverside South, just a slight increase for detached and towns, and actually a decrease in the number of condos listed for sale. And for sales, We had a drop in detached in towns and actually a rise in condos, but that was to be expected since there was only one sale last week. For Orleans, we have an increase in detached towns and condos and a drop in all the sales. And as always, I've got all of the data for detached homes, towns, and of course the condos. The one thing I would comment on here for the condos, what pulled up the average for the condominium average sale price, and specifically Canada Stittsville, was 3 quite expensive, but 1 very expensive condo that sold in Canada. So that pulled up the average there and pulled up the citywide average just a little bit too. Okay, so that was my new and improved, hopefully, update for the Ottawa real estate market. Please leave some feedback or just get in touch. Let me know what you like, what you don't like about these updates, and let me know if there's something else that you would like to see. Please give me a follow on my YouTube channel. Give it a thumbs up, give me a comment. Please, I like to know that people are enjoying these. Have a great week.